You're listening to IsReal News, 3 daily briefings on the Middle East and on global developments.
From IsReal News, these are the midday headlines for Friday, April 17th. President Donald Trump says he believes a deal with Iran could be signed within a day or two. He tells Israel's Channel 12 the two sides are likely to meet over the weekend to finalize an agreement to end the war. Trump says the Iranians want a deal and that the maritime blockade will remain in place until one is reached. He says the agreement would make Israel safer and calls it a good deal for Israel. But Trump also delivered a blunt message on Lebanon. He says Israel must stop its strikes there, saying it cannot continue blowing up buildings and that he will not allow it. Behind the scenes, American officials say Washington and Tehran have made progress and are moving closer to a 3-page memorandum of understanding to end the war. They say gaps still remain. One element under discussion is the release of $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in exchange for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium, according to Israel's Channel 12. The draft understanding also includes what is described as a voluntary freeze on uranium enrichment by Iran, though the sides are still negotiating how long that freeze would last. Under the proposal, Iran would be allowed to keep nuclear research reactors for the production of medical isotopes. But all of its nuclear facilities would have to be above ground, and existing underground facilities could no longer be used for nuclear purposes. In Lebanon, President Joseph Aoun says his country is now negotiating in its own name and is no longer a card in anyone else's pocket. He says Lebanon is moving from the phase of securing a ceasefire to working on permanent agreements. Aoun says the goals are a full Israeli withdrawal, full state control, and the return of displaced residents to their homes. He insists that negotiations are not weakness and do not mean surrendering rights or sovereignty. He also has a message for Hezbollah and other armed groups. He says they must stop endangering the fate of the state and argues that only the project of the Lebanese state can provide real security. In Israel, officials were reportedly surprised by Trump's social media post that appears to forbid Israeli attacks in Lebanon. The ceasefire language limits attacks on Lebanese targets and national infrastructure, but Israeli officials say it still allows action in self-defense during the pause. The military says the ceasefire applies only north of the Yellow Line and that ground forces in southern Lebanon are continuing to act against Hezbollah infrastructure there. The Army is also disclosing a new Special Forces operation. It says troops landed on the strategic Christopheni Ridge in southern Lebanon just minutes before the ceasefire took effect. The military says the move was designed to establish control in an area overlooking key routes between Beirut, Damascus, the Bekaa Valley, and southern Lebanon. In London, police are investigating a security incident near the Israeli embassy. Counter-terror officers are examining suspicious items found near the compound, along with an online video claiming the site was targeted by drones carrying hazardous materials. British authorities say the embassy was not attacked. No injuries were reported, and there is no believed threat to the public at this time. But police remain deployed in the area as a precaution. And in South Africa, far-left opposition leader Julius Malema was sentenced to 5 years in prison after being convicted on weapons charges tied to a 2018 incident in which he fired a semi-automatic rifle into the air at a political rally. Malema has drawn international attention in recent years for rhetoric calling for violence against white farmers and for publicly praising the October 7th Hamas massacre. His lawyers say they will appeal. If the sentence stands, he could be disqualified from Parliament. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.
Follow IsReal News for 3 daily briefings. Fast, factual, and to the point.